The Rivian R1S, an all-electric SUV that's taking the world by storm, rugged enough to conquer trails, sleek enough for the urban jungle, and innovative in ways that make traditional SUVs look outdated. But should you buy one? Today we'll dive into the voices of owners and expert reviewers to uncover the truth about the R1S. Let's break it down.
So when you open it up, kind of like how Rolls-Royce gives you an umbrella in the door, Rivian gives you a rechargeable flashlight. So it just pops right into the door there, and what's really cool is that when you put it back in, it's charging automatically. So you don't have to worry about keeping it charged, just pop it back in there, and it's always there when you need it. So they've got what they're calling a camp speaker, which is a built-in Bluetooth speaker under here in the center console, and just like the flashlight, it charges automatically when you put it in. This is pretty sweet. You don't have to worry about bringing a Bluetooth speaker. It's just got one here built in. Rivian does supply you with an actual air hose, which is pretty cool. It comes in a little bag under the cargo cover, and you can take that and you can plug it right into the port right here and turn it on, and there you go. Even with the third row, folded up so that people can sit there, you still have a decent amount of cargo space back here. It's not huge. We do full cargo testing where we see how much stuff it can hold. So we will put this through that test, and you can come back and check to see just how much stuff it can carry.
One of the things I do like about having this car being so full of tech is that it's regularly getting over-the-air updates. So when Rivian makes a new firmware, it's not just keeping the car stable. Once you install it, there's oftentimes new features that you'll find.
Air suspension is another cool function of this car. And not just that you can change your ride height on the fly, but in camping mode, it will take advantage of the fact that it can change the height of each wheel independently, and it can level the car in both axes so you can have a nice flat area to camp. Camping in this vehicle is very fun. It's kind of more glamping. It's very comfortable. It's another way that we can sort of enjoy being outdoors without just having to pitch a tent. And I think kind of Becky alluded to it in our last video, it sort of expands the seasons. In the middle of the summer and it's super sweltering hot, having the option to be able to camp in the Rivian is sort of a nice option to have. I think that all in all, this car is incredibly fun to drive, incredibly nice to drive. I really enjoy the feel of the car, how fast it is, how responsive it is, just how nice all of the interfaces are. And for a guy who came from a 10-year-old 2013 Volkswagen Tiguan, it was definitely, there's no comparison. So very happy with the purchase, would definitely do it again.
I really like this thing. Whether it's the best SUV ever or not, that'll be up for debate. I really like it, and I've had a lot. I think people will just have fun with it in general. That's pretty obvious. I think even the Escalade, the Cadillac Escalade, will be cheaper than this Rivian R1S. But what this Rivian R1S does is it's able to offer all of the things that you want out of a vehicle like this and doesn't really skimp. So some of those might be really comfortable and well built, but they won't be as high tech. Or they might be really high tech and well built, but they won't be as fast. You see what I mean? Now, this is the electric one too, so it's going to be the quietest, it's going to be the most responsive, the most efficient, it's going to have the most space, and those are all benefits kind of over all of the other 6-7-seat SUV.
Oh my God, it's so quick. Actually, I love the motor noise, that you hear the electric motors come through into the cabin. There's 4 of them.
I love the rugged interior of the Rivian. Nice little bolsters here. It feels really premium, feels nice. Now we're inside. Very upright, right? Kind of uncomfortable. And you can recline the second row pretty far back. And this is very comfortable. I'm very impressed. But we have working third row air vents, baby. This is amazing.
When I drove it for a couple days, I realized that it's kind of a pain just to get in and out of the truck. And it mostly comes down to the key fob. Unlike something like a Toyota Camry or Honda Civic, where you could pretty much just give it to your neighbor or maybe your grandparent and they can just instantly figure it out because it's all buttons and knobs and everything's where you expect. Everything is put into this central screen. So there is way more of a learning curve here. You gotta learn the menus, you gotta spend some time, set it up the way you want and figure out where everything is. So if you want to get a truck just like the one we have here, it's gonna cost you about $96,000. So Rivian is a brand new company. In my opinion, that's a kind of risky way to spend $100,000 or close to it. They don't really have a service network set up. If something breaks, you have to go through a bit of a process. Somebody has to come pick up the truck and fix it. So it's a little bit of a different type of ownership experience than you might be used to.
It doesn't have something like Apple CarPlay, so the functionality that I'm used to from having my iPhone integrate seamlessly with my car, that's lacking. The GPS is not as good as Google Maps. If I say punch in a destination, it might give me an estimate that says it might take 15 minutes, but at Google Maps it says like 25. The wipers, the windshield wipers, they're automatic, but I do find that they don't kick in fast enough. Now Rivian apparently sent an over-the-air update to allow you to change the sensitivity on how fast or slow the wipers kick in. I haven't played with that yet, but the one gripe I do have is that when it's raining very heavily, and we do get heavy rain here in Western New York, the fastest wiper setting is not as fast as I'd like it. The wireless charging that's built into this center console here is absolute garbage. It is borderline unusable. We bought an aftermarket charger and that works great.
It's bumpy, it gets unsettled. There's an immediate layer of just discomfort, and even then when it hits big bumps, it gets very unsettled.
I don't like using the word dangerous, but to a potentially dangerous level. Higher speed corners like this, turn in, oh my God, the rear steps out. Compared to the R1T, this steering in this isn't as good. I don't know if it has to do with the stuff that James talked about, wheelbase related, I don't know, different tuning or whatever. It should be the same front end as the R1T, but the steering isn't quite as communicative or as sharp. Don't really know what that's about. And when it comes to the actual handling of the car, this one doesn't feel quite as stable and predictable as the R1T does, especially at higher speeds. The only other issue is what you're hearing right now is there's a lot of wind noise. And I don't want to say the R1T didn't have that. I don't remember exactly if it's the same as this, but I don't remember it being quite this much.
You can get children in the back.
Yeah.
It's very cramped for legroom.
Yeah.
But headroom's okay. When the back row is up,
Yeah.
the trunk space is not huge in the back.
No, it's not huge.
But the seats fold flat.
Yep, they do.
As do the middle seats.
I complain about it because there's a few things that I don't like, but overall, I really, really like, well, the truck version of this. I'd take that one.
You take the truck?
I'd take the truck, yeah.
A lot of the accelerations and decelerations and the way it sways a little bit back and forward and going around turns, I feel a little bit extra swaying where I didn't expect it. You could argue that that's a weakness of this particular vehicle. Sure. But in literally 99% of the cases, especially with 99% of the drivers, nobody's actually ever going to notice.
One thing I do miss in the Kia EV9 is they had a nice strap, so they made it super easy. You can just be here, pull it down and come down. The only way for me to bring the seats back up is to go to the second row and then put it up that way.
So, should you buy the Rivian R1S? It's a bold, innovative SUV with features that cater to adventurers and tech enthusiasts alike. But like any vehicle, it's not without its quirks. Now it's your turn. We've heard from the owners and reviewers, but what do you think? Let us know in the comments if the R1S is your dream ride, or if you'd pass on this electric powerhouse. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more car reviews and insights. See you in the next video.